Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sean Buckley, Chief Revenue Officer for Connected TV at Magnite. Thank you for joining us for the next episode of Magnite's TV100 series, Navigating the TV Advertising World, the OEM's Perspective. We're very happy to have you here. Just a little about Magnite's TV100. It's a curated thought leadership series focused on providing insights into television's constant evolution. Today, we're going to hear from leaders at the forefront of TV innovation. Smart TV manufacturers have had an increasingly involved role in the CTV advertising market over the last few years. Given that, we're excited to hear from key leaders at three of the largest players in the space today. And with that, I'll now hand it over to our wonderful moderator, Stacy Chan, Head of US Digital Marketplaces at PhD. Stacy?
Thank you so much, Sean. I'm thrilled to be here today with TV100 series, and especially with the COVID acceleration of CTV video and the proliferation of streaming services. I can't think of a better time to have this great conversation. I'm so excited to be joined by a wonderful panel group, and I'm so excited to share. I want to introduce you to Travis Hockersmith, who is the Vice President of Platform at VIZIO. Also joining Travis will be Serge Mata, President, LG Ad Solutions. And last but not least, Joe Melarango, Head of Platform Sales and Agency Development at Samsung Ads. Great, and now we're gonna jump right into our first topic of discussion today. As advertisers are at a point where they're getting more content level insights from TV data versus programmatic, will the OEMs be able to help advertisers understand what content they are buying? I know this is a huge question that my clients ask all the time. So I want to get your take on this and would love to have Serge answer first.
You know, the answer is absolutely. Thank you, Stacy. Thanks, Magnite. Thanks, Sean, for the introduction. Absolutely, we'll be able to share the insights. All of us to a certain degree have similar capabilities. We have everything is for us is audience driven. So we start with the audience. We're able to see what the audiences are actually consuming, what they're watching. We have proprietary ACR technology that's running on these TVs in a privacy-friendly manner. So sure, we're able to see and provide a lot of insights from what they're watching, both not only on linear, but also on CTV. And then finally, we have our own inventory. So when you couple that with not only we have the inventory, we have the ACR that's running, and it's all audience driven, there's a lot of insights that OEMs can play and provide.
Travis or Joe, I don't know if you guys also want to throw in any thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo everything. Oh, sorry, Joe. I'll echo everything that was just said. The primary benefit that we see to advertisers as it relates to being able to provide insights in terms of what content they're watching is to take action on those insights. So, for example, most of our advertisers at this point are targeting TVs based on what those TVs are seeing, whether it's content or ads. We can find unexposed TVs to a particular ad. We can find an audience that watches the NFL or any sort of genre or show that is consumed at any sort of scale, and actually target an ad campaign based on that criteria. So it goes beyond insights to actually taking action based on what we're seeing at the glass level on our TVs.
Yeah, it's more important now than ever that as we redefine premium content that we're able to actually actionalize on these content signals, and how do we actually, take it a step further and not just, look at the data, but optimize on it. So I think, that's great answers from both of you. The next question I would love to, pick your brains on is, in many ways, OEMs are the discovery engine that connects consumers with the CTV content. And, their first step at the experience as they turn on your television. Are there any interesting consumer insights that have informed your product development and overall strategy? I think I'm going to toss this one to Joe first.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Stacy. So I've been with Samsung a little over 5 years now, and this has been a really fun one to watch because when I started in 2017, obviously smart TVs and connected TV were a thing, but there were far fewer apps and less time spent. What we've seen now is that the connected TV household penetration is nearly universal across all demographics. 3/4 of our users are spending 90% of their viewing time watching streaming. And so, this means that it becomes more and more important for OEMs like the three of us to, provide a really good user experience across the content. If you think about the two modes we're in when we sit down on the couch and we turn on our smart TV, there's the intent mode where maybe it's Friday and there's some new movie release or some game we want to play, so we know exactly what we're going to do. But then there's discovery mode where, ideally we sit down and we find something new to watch in a fast manner instead of scrolling through the same listings, maybe 10, 15 minutes, like many of us have quite a few times. And so we're really leaning into what we call the Smart Hub to really power content discovery for users as more and more premium high quality apps come onto the sort of the CTV streaming ecosystem. They rely on us more and more. And so, we just made some major announcements around Smart Hub innovations at CES this year, and we look to continue doing that in the future.
Yeah, on our side, we see similar trends. For example, the LG channel is the most watched in terms of, it's the number one app on the TV for us in terms of minutes per session. We're going to continue investing in that channel with exclusive content, exclusive inventory. So that's where we're heading. And obviously, we're always going to be doing it with our content partners. So it's a mixture of both here, right? But the rocket ship and the increase in viewership that we're seeing, it's not just for LG, it's not for Samsung, it's all of us, right? This is the shift that we're seeing from linear to CTV, and everyone here is experiencing it for sure.
Yeah, we've seen amazing, sell-through rates across the board with all of our premium publisher partners as well. To your point, not just the OEMs, and it's been a great Q4 for everyone. So the next question I want to touch on and want to understand better, I think, Travis, smart TV manufacturers typically differentiate themselves based on hardware features. With all the considerations being made behind the screen, perhaps that could change. From a consumer standpoint, will we ever reach where viewers will be able to choose their next smart TV based on these attributes other than hardware specs and price?
Yeah, hardware specs and price are still important to consumers, clearly. But I think what's even more important today, and this is not even future looking, is kind of the operating system, so to speak, that the TV runs on. Does it have all the content that they expect to have right out of the box? Do they have to use multiple remote controls, or is it a seamless experience from day one when they plug it in? And all of the smart TV operating systems, I believe, are becoming the primary differentiator in a consumer's eyes as to what TV they want to buy. What TV, what brand is going to help them with search and discovery? What brand has, like I said, all the apps that they want right out of the box? What brand has proprietary, say, FAST or AVOD content that they get for free for buying that brand? I believe these are already differentiators, yeah.
And Serge, would you like to?
Can't agree more. I can't agree more. Like for us, the WebOS operating system, that's what we're banking on. That's what we're going to continue investing. And I'm sure Samsung and VIZIO are doing the same thing. That's not even in like 3-5 years. This is now, right? And this is what we're spending a ton of R&D money into it and rolling it out. And not only, one big thing for us is not just in the US, but also globally. The LG brand, similar to the Samsung brand, is globally widespread. Their reach is just incredible. For us, it's over 125 million TVs globally that we have access to, and we have our web OS in all of these countries. So, and all of these TVs. So that's a big focus of ours as well.
Yeah, we continue to. I was just going to say, we continue to focus on hardware innovation, as I know these guys do as well. But many of those newest cutting edge hardware features don't trickle down to the mainstream TVs for a couple more years. But one key thing, if you look at this panel, right? If you'd done this 4 or 5 years ago, the biggest players were the people who made things that you plugged into your television to help you with your streaming. Obviously, many of those players are still around today, but now the TV manufacturers, the TV OEMs, are the ones that are really sort of defining and controlling that consumer experience, because we have the closest relationship to that consumer. So I think that's a trend that you're going to see continue, as we and our friends here have invested more into our own proprietary smart TV operating systems. It becomes less and less necessary to attach something else to your TV to get the best experience.
On that note, Serge, I know you were talking about the global footprint. I think Joe can also answer this question. Do you think that consumers differentiate their appetite based on where they are, which market they're sitting from, or are they all similar to the U.S. buyers, what they're looking for in hardware specs and things like that?
No, I think there's definitely some local aspect to it, right? And you have to tailor it to that, especially on the content side, right? To think, for example, US-based content can apply and resonate with folks in the UK or France or Germany or Australia, you'd be fooling yourself, right? That's just not going to work. So there's going to be a ton of localization. The content that we end up either producing ourselves or through via LG channels or through content partners has to be localized, but the operating system is going to be uniform across the board.
Yeah, because obviously a lot of our clients are global. So I thought, it's a great question to ask, given that, they would probably work with you on a global scale if they're working with you in the US market.
And we see that today, right? With endemic partners, we see that with media entertainment clients. They have global campaigns. So, you're promoting one show here, you'll probably report it, with the Olympics coming up, with other things coming up, that's going to be a really big focus. And, it fits us well, really, we're in an incredible spot.
Joe, did you have anything to add on to that?
No, I think one interesting thing for us is just what the ad experience and what consumers are used to in other markets. So if you think about the US, right, we've had ad-supported television since 50s, 60s, and that's what several generations have grown up with and are used to. And so as we developed Samsung TV Plus, it looks a lot like what people are used to from cable. You get 100, 200 channels, they're ad-supported, there's all sorts of content. But then if you go into European markets, where maybe the number one station in the UK has been BBC, and then pay satellite has been really large, you have to find a different model, or you have to find different ways to get consumers to engage with that ad-supported content. But I think what we have seen is that consumers do want that free ad-supported content. So as long as we adapt in the different markets to how consumers want to have it surface to them, I think there's still that strong appetite across markets.
And leveraging both of ours and our ACRs, and as we roll it out in all of these countries, is going to amplify this, right? It's only going to help us try to figure out what consumers want in terms of content.
Great. Yep, I agree. Travis, aside from monetizing a percentage of in-stream video content through deals with content owners, OEMs also have advertising opportunities on various viewer interfaces. What are some of the ad formats that VIZIO has been experimenting with, and the success that you've been seeing using non-traditional approaches from an audience or advertiser perspective?
Yeah, the main purpose of what we refer to as our home screen, so the screen that you get when you turn your TV on, is to help with search and discovery. And in that, we're promoting a lot of different content that a consumer is likely to engage with based on what they've engaged with in the past. And we found a couple of really interesting advertising opportunities, not only for media and entertainment clients, but also for general market clients. For media and entertainment, the use case is pretty obvious. We've got this great search and discovery base, and they can promote content into that interface. And we've seen just through the performance metrics that it works exceptionally well, especially as we have kind of this battle for attention with the proliferation of streaming services. So that's been phenomenally successful, not only for us, but for our media and entertainment partners in promoting their apps and content. But on the general market side, we've found that there have been a lot of success stories so far in in basically a brand being able to bring free content to a consumer. So we might have a movie night brought to you by a pizza brand, for example. And the consumer sees the value exchange there. They understand that the brand is bringing them free content that they're likely to engage with based on what they've engaged with in the past. And we've seen really strong success stories in terms of performance metrics there as well. But helping brands take advantage of the search and discovery capabilities within the operating system has been very successful for us and those brands.
Do you want to build on that, Serge?
Yeah, I think, I don't want to totally disclose everything because we're going to make a few announcements in the next couple of weeks here. But as a teaser, 100% what Travis said, but also, for us, as is everybody here, the launch of QR codes, that's also, or also location-based advertising associated with a CTV ad. So you're promoting a Taco Bell ad, and then next to it is where is the closest Taco Bell franchise that you can go to, right? Based on your location of that household. Those are things that in a dynamic manner that can happen that is tailored to that household. That's kind of where this thing is all going. And this is not future state again. This is something that we're doing, Samsung, VIZIO, Roku are all doing as well. So this is kind of as we enhance the user experience on both, not only on CTV, but also on our native display as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both what Travis and Serge said. Another area that we're really leaning in is gaming. I think we probably all saw the announcement that Microsoft is looking to buy Activision Blizzard for a very large amount of money because consumers are spending more and more time sort of in those gaming environments, which potentially transitions into the metaverse or whatever the trend is there. But we recently announced the Samsung Gaming Hub, which directly allows consumers to stream games to their TV without any additional device. We're partnering with people like NVIDIA, Google Stadia, and others. And there will be more announcements to come there. And so we have, rich advertising experiences that can help drive into those gaming environments. I think long term, we'll look at what we can do within gaming environments. Obviously, that is still in the works. But I think that we continue to think about how consumers engage with their TVs in a more active way, not just through sort of the passive viewing of television style content, but also gaming and future sort of lean in engagement.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if the OEMs like yourselves are thinking about how to better integrate to all the great CES trends that we're seeing with the augmented, audio sets, augmented vests, augmented, experiences that consumers can really enjoy. And obviously, what better way than the biggest screen in your living room to kind of connect those dots. So that'd be really interesting coming out of this year. And I think to your point, Web 3.0, all the clients right now are, having this buzzword, the metaverse. Everyone wants to know about this. So really curious to see how, VIZIO, LG, and Samsung respond to that in the future and how kind of collaborations that can come about for it that will better the consumer experience. And, to your point, Serge, I think we can all agree that during COVID, the proliferation of QR codes it just sped it up in lifetimes. I think QR codes was hard to adapt previously, but during the time where, you would rather be hands off and have, a contactless method of looking at a menu, or things have been so simplified throughout that. So definitely seeing that onto the CTV screen and being able to extend off screen to drive to, traffic, I think is a great way to leverage that product.
It's crazy how COVID helped QR codes. It's really unbelievable. It was completely dead pre-COVID, but It seems to have risen.
Or mobile payment, right? I think that's something that we've seen in Asia,
For sure.
right? Typically done much more than we have. And now it's, you can order on your, QR code from your table and then pay with that and just leave. And so you really have minimalized contact with your server. Moving along on our next discussion topic, thinking about as an OEM, how do you differentiate yourselves from the publishers to the buy side? How does that, the way that you work with the buy side differ from a traditional content creator would?
Yeah, our value prop is a little bit different than a traditional content creator in that what we sell essentially to advertisers is an aggregated audience across a variety of content. And that aggregated audience can achieve linear TV like scale. And then we can use data to target across all of that content and inventory. In particular, our ACR data, like we've been talking about throughout the panel. So that's our value prop. Our value prop isn't necessarily hit programming, although we certainly have custom curated channels in our fast service that perform really well with viewers. But our primary value prop is the aggregation of audiences that are data targeted at TV like scale.
I think it's absolutely that. It's the data targeting based on audiences, leveraging the ACR. It's doing it, as I said, across apps. It's across on a global basis as well. But I think where it's also heading is making sure that we provide something new to the industry and something where maybe start introducing some performance based KPIs in terms of guarantees or something like that. So that's kind of where we think this is all heading, is you still want something to differentiate yourself. And, there's so much dollars moving from linear to CTV. You want that trend to continue, and you need to start providing our clients differentiated tool sets.
Yeah, I agree with Serge and Travis. And then I would add, we've leaned into Samsung DSP, which we launched in 2020. And the value that we see there is taking our smart TV and our ACR data and allowing advertisers to use it to control, reach and frequency holistically, not just on their linear buy and their Samsung buy, but on all of their other streaming buys, right? We're connected to all of the leading SSPs, like our friends here at Magnite. So agencies and advertisers can put in their programmatic guarantee or their PMP campaigns with other publishers and manage that reach and frequency holistically using our data to ensure that they're getting their audience the right amount of times.
Yeah, speaking from experience, at least from the buy side, we're definitely seeing our clients leverage the OEMs to amplify their current buys, as well as, to your point, Serge, to shift from traditional linear to programmatic pipes, and seeing that I think grow year over year, which has been really exciting for us with a lot of our major brands. And I think that's only continuing to come. Especially, I think where a place that the OEMs can play to win is, given a lot of those, like we mentioned, publishers typically oversell. I think in Q4, what we saw was a huge squeeze in the market, and it was a great win for the OEMs as we were, obviously extending a lot of incremental in the last minute, trying to ensure that we can land our budgets. So I think, we do look at you very differently on the buy side than the pub side, but it's also interesting to hear your perspective and how you guys look at that. So for a buyer like me, what data exists at the OEM level that I'm not getting by working with, software and content side of CTV? I think I'll have Serge answer that one first.
I think we've mentioned it, right? It's the ACR data that we have. We've not. With somewhat different strategies here between us and VIZIO and Roku and Samsung. We're not a walled garden by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going in and telling everybody that we are a gated community where we're providing our data with for clients that have our passcode. We just announced a deal late last year with iSpot, where we're providing them and enhancing them with our ACR data. I know VIZIO does similar things, but that's something that's a very the power of that data is incredible. And again, I can't overemphasize that it's not just in the US, but also on a global basis. When you have 125 million TVs globally that you're able to see what people are doing, that's a massive, massive data set. The other data streams that we have and is also just providing agencies and others for planning tools in terms of impressions, campaign at the campaign level, in terms of exposures. That's also something that they can then unify the data sets across all of the OEMs and other platforms.
Great. Travis or Joe, would you guys like to chime in on this one?
Well, as it pertains to our data strategy around licensing out our Enscape data, the big opportunity that we see right now is in powering next generation currencies as kind of the legacy currency in market has been called into question more than ever. There's an opportunity right now that I think we've only talked about for the last few decades that's really playing out, which is there's the opportunity for multiple currencies in market that the advertiser can choose what currency they want to transact on across both linear and streaming environments. So we're working closely with kind of this next generation of currency providers to make sure that our ACR data is a piece of that solution going forward.
And how are your clients, responding to that in terms of willingness to work with a new type of currency that you guys are seeing across the board?
Yeah, it seems like responding in the way that we've only talked about what happened. Like I said, for the last few decades, we've seen the clients of the currency providers. Of course, we're fueling some of the currency providers embracing tests at a scale that has never occurred before. So we're definitely seeing traction in market across a number of different alternate currencies, and are excited to continue to kind of fuel this movement.
Yeah, we see this. I 100% agree. It's there's been some announcements lately with the broadcasters that they're testing certain different alternative currency measurement. I still think it's in the early phases of it, but the data sets are now there, right? And the NBCs, the other broadcasters are going to Viacom. They're going to test. They're going to make their own decisions. Some of it is going to be leveraging our data sets. Some of it's going to be other data sets, but at least they're going down that path. Where does it end up? It's really hard to tell because, and I think this is why it's so exciting, is in the next 3 to 6 months, we'll know where this ends up. But I think at least the openness to test other currencies is honestly, it's good for the industry as a whole, and everybody will benefit. Everyone will benefit, including the incumbent.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity right now in the space. So hopefully we could see that land in this upcoming upfront, which we're all excited to see as things continue to shift. Joe, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
No, I mean, I was on a call this morning with the head of investment at one of the large agencies, and they're working through a process because they would like to, transact on some of these alternative currencies in the next upfront. I think it's going to take time because the measurement is a little different for each of them. We've made the decision that we're building our own measurement solution, but we're not really trying to be a currency in that sort of third-party independent way. But we are definitely open to working, with solutions as agencies and advertisers explore new currencies. Because I think we can all agree that the whole industry needs to innovate and be a little better about what we're transacting on than we have been for the last few decades.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great time, momentous time for change. This is our last question as we're running out of time together. But looking ahead, to the next 5 years, how do you think the place of the OEMs within the TV advertising industry and marketplace will change?
I think we're already starting to see. Oh, sorry, Joe. Sorry, who is trying to talk to? I'll defer.
Go ahead
and come back. Okay. I think the role that we're going to play is already starting to evolve, and that's what I said previously. We're selling aggregated audiences at TV-like scale with targeting that's only possible if you're measuring what's happening at the glass level. So we're already starting to see this strategy really play out in market. I think it's just going to accelerate over the next few years, especially as the need for peripheral devices essentially disappears. Consumers want a TV that they plug in and it works. The content they expect to find is there. Only one remote control, just a streamlined, simple experience. And I think that is going to essentially be the death of the peripheral, which will continue to drive scale into each of these OEM footprints.
Great.
Yeah, and I would add, what Samsung's trying to do is continue to add additional devices throughout the smart home. So, our appliances continue to get smarter. We're the number one smartphone maker in the world, number two in the US. And so what we're really trying to do is help consumers sort of connect the physical world to their digital world. And we think that will continue to allow us to enhance our TV advertising platform, but also the advertising platform elsewhere.
Yeah, the technology on these TV screens is just incredible. The LG with the OLED models, the technology that they've built is just phenomenal, right? And people are spending $1,500, $2,000 to buy this TV. They're going to use it a lot. It's going to be their primary TV that they end up using. Both if it's us, it's Samsung, it's VIZIO, whoever the case may be. And as a result, they want a lot of bells and whistles, right? They expect that. They expect a lot of more content on our individual fast channels. They want the discoverability of it to be really easy. And then from an advertiser perspective, where do we go from here? Is premium content, premium inventory, audience buying, leveraging the ACR, and making it performance based.
Great. And on that note, that's the end of our panel discussion today. And I hope everyone has been able to take something away. I certainly have. Thank you so much to Travis, Serge, and Joe for joining us, and those of you for tuning in. And we hope you guys really enjoyed this session, and thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.